inclusive development. I thank you for your patience, and we look forward for exchanges. Thank you.
Thank you. As we near the coffee break now, because I think you've definitely deserved to be fed and watered after this, could we keep the goodwill messages to maybe 2 minutes or so? I want to now call on someone who's come a long way from the United States of America, from the U.S. Department of State. Robert F. Icord Jr. is the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Energy Transformation, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome him.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to come from Washington to recognize the importance of this fantastic conference and opportunity to address the power investment issues in Nigeria. Nigeria is an important strategic partner of the United States. We have worked together for many years in the development of and now implementation of the Power Sector Reform Program, and we will continue to support this effort in the future. It is truly a historic transformation that's occurring in Africa. I've worked on power sector issues around the world for over 30 years. This is indeed, I would echo the thought that this is one of the most ambitious and impressive efforts ever undertaken, in my view. And we salute the vision of President Jonathan and all of you for making this a reality and taking the steps in terms of privatization that have occurred today, and to the investors especially for being willing to step up and really support this effort and get it going. I wanted to just briefly cite a couple of points that I think are important as we look at the challenges and opportunities in power sector today. Clearly, we see from a global standpoint that the future markets in power are in the emerging countries. And Africa is going to be one of the leaders in that process and a very important market for investors in the future, because 80% of future electricity growth is going to be in your economies. So these opportunities are enormous, and they are critical to your growth and development. And I think that President Obama, when he launched the Power Africa initiative last year, recognized this fact and has moved to try to focus all of our government resources on trying to increase electricity power generation capacity in Africa. And we are very pleased that Nigeria is part of this initiative. We are putting together a strong team in Nigeria to work, including not only our diplomatic efforts, our assistance efforts, our trade and investment agencies, OPIC and Export-Import Bank and Trade and Development Agency, to try to really focus on encouraging and promoting investment in your country. Second, it is clear that that the progress that is being made and the hopes from this process to move toward a financially viable and commercial sector, as the leaders have articulated this morning, is fundamental to the long-term investment needs and growth of the economy. And there are many aspects of this that have been touched on by the honorable ministers, so I will not do that. But clearly, in a sense, the opportunities to, one, put in place an effective market framework are there. And we're working, for instance, with the bulk trader, which is going to occupy a critical role in terms of this initial phase of the privatization. And I think in terms of financial viability, it's important to keep our eye on the ball in the sense that improvement of the distribution functions and the collections and the revenue and cash in the system is is essential and will be a critical test of this. And this is one of the areas. Investors around the world are looking at Nigeria because it has tremendous potential and to see if these challenges can be overcome and as quickly as possible. Third, I would emphasize the critical role of the energy regulator. Strong regulators with stability and predictability are critical, and all the investors that you'll talk to will indicate that. And I'm pleased to hear the important efforts that are going on to develop the legal and regulatory framework in a very full and robust way. We have a partnership with our regulators in the U.S. through the U.S. National Association of Regulatory Utility Commissioners, which has worked around the world to try to help countries understand best practices in this area. Fourth, clearly gas is very important. We share a common challenge in terms of United States and Nigeria have large gas resources that are going to be very important for our countries, for the regions, and for the world. And so we have a tremendous basis, I think, for continued collaboration in the area of natural gas. The unlocking of these resources for not only power, but throughout the economy, whether it be LPG for cooking, whether it be for transport or other areas, is going to be obviously an enormous task and with great promise to create a clean and efficient economy here in Nigeria. And I would say that, in close, there is really a campaign developing around the world to put attention on the issue of energy access. We have 1.2 billion people in the world without electricity. 600 million are in Africa, and a large number are in Nigeria. We cannot wait 20 years to give them electricity. They have to get it sooner. And I've seen firsthand in the villages what electricity can mean, even a small amount. And we know that people are paying a lot for diesel and kerosene already in many areas. And so there is a revolution developing, I think, in terms of how to provide that power to people. That smaller, decentralized approaches can complement grid expansion to meet those needs. Prices are going down. We've had important innovations like LED lights, etc., that in a sense mean that you need less power to provide that service. But we need the business models, and we need the investment orientation and ability to attract that in commercially operated entities. And I think that that will be one of the central challenges that the United States will work on, hopefully together with Nigeria. We are part of the Sustainable Energy for All initiative of the UN and World Bank, and in a sense we see opportunities in Power Africa and in the future to work on this particular aspect to ensure that the fruits of the energy sector development are in a sense shared throughout the country, and that the social and economic benefits can flow to the population and citizens of Nigeria. So thank you very much. It's a great pleasure for me to be here.
Thank you very much, Robert. Robert's leading a delegation of some 60 people from the U.S. Department of State who will be hopefully very interactive in the second half of this conference, which will be breakout sessions and plenary sessions, so you're very welcome. I'm moving swiftly on because time is against us now. Quickly, if you could come to the podium, Mark Chiavello. He is the head of corporate banking for Standard Bank, one of our biggest supporters in this transformation of the power industry.
Thank you so much, particularly the government of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan, Mr. Vice President, and everyone in the administration. This is a great privilege to be here. And on behalf of the international banks and the local banks, we're really looking forward to what I'm sure will be a fantastic day. And I think, just briefly, the reason Standard Bank is here, Stanbic IBTC is here.